President of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, has reportedly told a Lebanese television station that government forces have scored major victories against rebels. Now, the interview is set to be broadcast later on today. Assad is also quoted as saying the first shipment of an advanced Russian air defense system has now arrived in the country as well. And this comes as international leaders seek a way forward for a country torn apart by civil war. Joining us now, Emanuele Ottolenghi. He's a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies in Washington. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Mr. Ottolenghi, do you think that Israel will launch a very targeted strike against what has been delivered by the Russians, this anti-aircraft defense system?
I think that if the Israelis have the actionable intelligence on where these systems are located, of course, we need confirmation still as to whether the first delivery indeed occurred, as the Syrian dictator has just announced on an interview. The Israelis will act upon their threat. The introduction of the system into the theater would be a major escalation. It adds or subtracts nothing to the balance of power between the rebels and the Syrian regime. It is clearly aimed in a hostile fashion at Israel, and therefore I would be very surprised if the Israelis let it pass.
But what about the timing of this? Is this time different? Certainly the Israelis have launched a similar strike before, but is the timing here quite critical? Because we do have talks, peace talks that are set to take place in June. We know the Assad regime, some members of the Assad regime have said in principle that they would attend. It's not completely firm, but things are looking positive on the diplomatic end.
Well, it's very much up in the air. I mean, the rebels have made it clear that they would attend only if there was a commitment by the regime that President Assad would stand down. The Syrian foreign minister has just made it abundantly clear that that is not going to happen, that Assad will remain in office until 2014 and may seek a new term after that. So that looks like a non-starter, and the fact that Iran and Russia are dead set on supporting the regime through military supplies, and in the case of the Iranians also the supply of manpower on the ground, suggests that the peace conference may actually never happen. So it's a very tense situation. The conflict has been escalating since its beginning in March 2011. You already have over 80,000 civilian casualties. You have hundreds of thousands of people displaced. And the fact of the matter is this regime, which has been committing atrocities on a grand scale, continues to be supplied with deadly weapons by its supporters. So I doubt that the diplomacy we've been promised in Geneva can unblock the situation, and it seems that the introduction of this military new weaponry in the theater, which has nothing to do really with the civil war, will only complicate matters.
Emanuele Ottolenghi joining us. He's a senior fellow at the Foundation of Defense of Democracies in Washington. We do appreciate your time on this. Thank you.